Okay, so here we're going to start looking at some of the ligaments and tendons and other connective tissue structures of the equine and bovine thoracic limb. Now, a lot of this stuff is going to be pretty much similar or the same between the thoracic and pelvic limbs, okay? So to start off with, just to orient yourself, we have the area of the carpus here, which means we're looking at the palmar aspect. Could be plantar if it was thoracic limb, or pelvic limb, but this is thoracic limb. So we have the palmar aspect of the metacarpus, fetlock, pastern, and essentially coffin joints. So some of the structures we can see include the interosseous muscle, which is this bright shiny tendon you see right here. That is going to give off these dorsal processes as part of the equine stay apparatus. We also see our superficial digital flexor and deep digital flexor tendons present. Now if we come down here to the area of the fetlock, we will see where the sesamoid bones are going to be, but first we want to look at this piece of fascia right here going around and surrounding the superficial digital flexor tendon. That is going to be the palmar annular ligament. As we move just a little bit further distal, we see this very large chunk of tissue right here. This is going to be the palmar digital annular ligament, or palmar annular digital. And this is the proximal here. And then the distal would be further just right down here. It's kind of still covered up with some fascia, but the shiny tissue would be the distal digital annular ligament. So palmar annular ligament, proximal digital annular ligament, distal digital annular ligament. Now if we open that up, we can actually get down here to see our sesamoids. And the sesamoids here would be our proximal sesamoids that are covered up by this tissue, which is the proximal scutum. Here we can also see the metacarpo-intersesamoidean ligament, this kind of spongy tissue in between the metacarpal bone, and the intersesamoidean, aka palmar ligament. The intersesamoidean ligament is between the two proximal sesamoid bones. So it would be lining right along here. We can also see the presence of some sesamoid ligaments down here, which include the long or the straight sesamoid ligament. If we peel up the straight, we see the two oblique. Let's start over. We have the straight sesamoid ligament here. If we peel that up, we have the Y shape, which is the two oblique sesamoid ligaments. And then, not really easily seen, we're going to switch specimens here. Just to orient you again, we have the straight sesamoid, the oblique sesamoids, and way down in there we have the cruciate sesamoid ligaments. In this specimen, we can also see the area of the middle scutum on the palmar aspect of the second phalanx, and the distal scutum overlying the navicular bone. In this area, we can also see the impar navicular ligament attaching the navicular bone to the third phalanx, and what used to be the transverse lamina, which would be essentially attaching the navicular bone over here to your deep digital flexor tendon. We also have that flexor manica, or manica flexoria, which is being formed by that superficial digital flexor tendon, allowing the deep digital flexor tendon to move through it. The only other sesamoid ligament that we did not talk about would be the short sesamoid ligament, and if you have questions about that, please come see me. So we're going to move over to some of the unique ligaments that are present within the bovine. Since bovine have two digits, they will have a couple interdigital ligaments that we have to be aware of. So we'll start off with this one. This bovine has the tendons of the deep and superficial digital flexors removed, allowing us to see the two pair of proximal sesamoid bones. Each pair is fused together or connected by that intersesamoidean ligament, And then we will also have this ligament that's kind of been cut away right here. That would be the interdigital intersesmoidean ligament. And so that's actually connecting the two pair of sesamoids together. Similarly, we will have cruciate sesamoid ligaments down here. But if we look right here in the middle, we see a very large cruciate ligament between the toes. That would be the interdigital phalangosesamoidean ligament. So, as a review, proximally between the pair of sesamoids, we have the interdigital intersesamoidean ligament. Just distal to that, we have this very large cruciate between two smaller cruciates. That is the interdigital phalangosesamoid ligament. Let's switch to this one. Now we can also see the presence of a proximal digital annular ligament, and then the distal would be down here. In this one, it's been cut right here and would be surrounding this deep digital flexor tendon. The only other ones that we would be unfortunately not able to see here would be a proximal interdigital ligament, which would be up in this area, and this very thick tissue right here, which would be your distal interdigital ligament. Obviously, the interdigitals are going to be between the two digits for any and all of these ligaments.